And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Week 8 of the League of Legends Amateur Open. We just saw a great match between Most Disbands NA and 40 Ounce Bounce. Now we have Russ is looking for a date going up against XMS Gaming. And for right now, Plushy Mikey actually on Russ is looking for a date is a part of the Amateur Open crew. So let's all give him a hard time during his match. So we are seeing them ban Thresh and Cassidy going out right away for XMS.
Okay, I'm back. Now, Cassidy's one of those solo queue assassins we see a lot. He's kind of like the Master Yi of AP picks mid. And very good roam potential, just like Ari, just like last game when we saw Peas going around on Ari, just killing everyone. Same thing can happen with Cassidy.
Yeah, that could be that if they were to let Cassidy go through. I'm assuming Plushy Mikey's gonna be in that mid lane, and he would be the one playing Cassidy. I like to think he is a very mechanically skilled mid laner, and giving him a strong roam champion like Cassidy who's able to help feed the rest of his team, that could be huge for them. But they are going to ban that out. They did do their homework, which is always good to see. So we are seeing Thresh, Evelyn, Zac going down, where Russ is looking for a date, and Cassidy, Shen, Ari from XMS Gaming. So
A lot of just basic bans, and then the insta-lock Lux. I hope that wasn't a glitch like last round, but very solid mid pick.
yeah, excuse me. If anyone recalls 2 weeks ago in week 6, Plushy Mikey actually played on the Amateur Open staff team, and he played Lux in the mid lane. So maybe XMS Gaming wasn't quite sure of this, but giving Mikey Lux, oh, that could hurt them. He is a very strong Lux player, by far his favorite champion. We are seeing Nami being picked up and Vi. Jarvan and Rumble being locked in for XMS Gaming. The Cataclysm as well as that Equalizer can provide a lot of AoE damage. As well as the Zyra and the Vayne. I'm really liking the team comp right now coming out of XMS.
Zyra and Vayne it's a great team comp, very strong picks, but it's not a lane you'll see that often. It's a lot of damage, but you have a very aggressive early game support with Vayne, who doesn't really start snowballing until she starts getting her Cutlass or her Blade of the Ruined King. So it's very strong nonetheless, but it's not a lane you'll see a lot.
Yeah, if Russ is looking for a date, is able to get that early advantage that they could potentially press with the fact that they're up against a Vayne, then it could provide lots of opportunities for them to get some early towers down with Plushy Mikey able to dish out a lot of poke damage early on. Or they're switching over to that Lissandra. Okay, we're not.
Yeah, that seems like a lot better pick because they don't know who their AD carry is yet. They could have just gave away the Vayne, which is kind of a risky move on their part because that would be the one thing that can just snowball on the other team. Because it's a lot of everything coming out of Russ is looking for a date, but it's a lot of damage as well from the Jace, Vi, and Lux. They don't really have a tank, but they have tons of damage.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up. There is a little bit of everything, really, coming out from Russ is looking for a date. They have that poke with Mikey on Lux and winning on Jace. Or I believe he's going to be that. We actually haven't seen these, so I shouldn't be saying that yet, but we see the Jace, the Lux able to dish out a lot of poke damage. They also have the Vi, which is a great engage with that Assault and Battery, and a disengage and catch out potential with Nami using that Aqua Prison or the Tidal Wave. And they will lock in Vayne there, so you were right on that. So there's your team comp for Russ is looking for a date. I'm curious to see what XMS Gaming is gonna pick up for their last pick.
I was actually thinking they were going to go with the Draven, but the Vayne they just have a lot of damage, kind of an every man for themselves, and you have a lot of, a lot of people like to call the Wombo combo comp coming out of XMS Gaming. You have the Lemon Nation and Squeaky on C9 made famous, the Zyra Ashe comp looking like it's coming out of bottom, but it's a really solid team coming out of XMS.
Yeah, Ashe right now has been gaining a lot of popularity. That enchanted crystal arrow is huge for engages. She has one of the highest, I guess you could say, one of the highest engage potentials in the game with that enchanted crystal arrow, able to land a long range, up to 3.5 seconds stun if it's able to go. I'm not quite sure the distances to get each time for a stun, but I know that if Korea on Ashe is able to use that effectively, it could lead, correct my mistake on Jarvan, Hybrid on Zyra, XMS Santa on Rumble, and Sick on Lissandra to be able to follow up that Enchanted Crystal Arrow with some huge AoE damage.
If they can land the 5-man Jarvan ult, you're just going to see Russ disappear. With the Lissandra ult coming in, with the Zyra ult coming in, with the Rumble ult coming in. It's a huge AoE comp, and they're looking for team fights. They don't want that lane phase. And even if Vi goes in, it's fairly much every man for themselves on Russ. And Russ has a strong chance of winning this if they can position themselves wisely and not all be grouped up in a little circle.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they're able to use their abilities, the Lucent Singularity, the Light Binding, the Aqua Prison, the Acceleration Gate into the Shock Blast, or even the Condemn to catch out someone, or just dish out a lot of poke damage before the fights start, the huge AoE coming out from XMS, it could be worthless. They're going to be too low to fight anyway. So this game is really going to come down to positioning in team fights, who's able to get those good engages, who's going to be able to use their comp to its full advantage. So right now we are into the 3-minute delay, 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. We have Russ is looking for a date on the blue team. They're a brand new team, and XMS Gaming on the purple team. They are a returning team. I believe this is their second week. Could be mistaken on that one. They're definitely looking to prove something here. If they're able to pick up a win on Russ is looking for a date and advance to the upper bracket, it could be huge for them.
Yeah, it's a really. I was just trying to think. It could go both ways, but if they fight, Vayne's gonna have tumble. She's gonna have a lot of self peel. And now you can actually tumble out of Jarvan's Cataclysm. You can tumble Flash and you're out of every single person's AoE. But if they get that Lissandra ult on the Vayne, which they're going to be looking for, that's what they need to go for. But it depends who gets fed. It could be anyone on Russ can get fed and can carry themselves, besides Nami, of course. So it's a very good team comp to verse the solid one that a lot of people were a lot more familiar with coming out of XMS Gaming.
Yeah, going back to what you said about Lissandra, if Sick is able to get that E and then able to use that ultimate to lock down Hadu Bayukarai on Vayne, that will just basically say, hey guys, this is a free engage right here. Like, he's locked up, and there's really not going to be too much he can do because the follow-up from Jarvan, Ashe, Zyra, and Rumble is huge. And I definitely think that XMS Gaming put a lot of thought into this team comp, because I think this could be huge for them.
This is actually, besides the Lissandra pick, which is a European pick to say the less, because that's where you're going to see her picked all the time, this is a basic Cloud9 Gaming comp worth looking at that we would see in an LCS tournament. So obviously looking at that, it's a good team. It's just, can they play how the team comp's supposed to be played? Because if they're picking fights in the jungle, that's what's going to be their downfall. They need to look for those lane fights. They need to look for those dive comp fights, where that's what they're going to have. They want to get in a group and they want to kill each other.
And we are going into the loading screen right now. Once again, on the blue team, Russ is looking for a date. Yes, that is their team name. And on the purple team, we have XMS Gaming. So taking a look at the Amateur Open skin, Seeing Steel Legion Lux on Plushy Mikey, and Debonair Jace, and Dragon Slayer Vayne.
Yeah, a lot of it's actually the both supports don't have skins, which is kind of funny. Neither of the junglers have skins, and it looks like Korea's holding them down with the AD carry. So that's gonna play a huge factor of who has the most skins.
If you're saying that they don't have a skin, maybe they don't like to run skins. Maybe they like the way the default skin looks, and they don't want to, you know, maybe some people think that the regular Zyra looks better than the Herb Zyra skin. I'm not quite sure.
There you go. But the skin bonus has been in League of Legends since beta. It's always just the universal rule, and let's see how it plays out with them. And now that I'm actually looking at it, I've actually played on a team with Korea. Now that I see this,
really, that's very interesting.
He played AD carry, so I'm very excited to see how he's improved as a player.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna be able to criticize him after this one. Just like, hey, Korea, you know that enchanted crystal arrow, you missed that one pretty bad.
Yeah, I'll just be able to talk him up. Yeah, I didn't even notice that until now. That's pretty cool. But so very excited to see how both teams can work out.
And we are gonna see two support masteries starts here. We're gonna see Plushy Mikey on that Lux grabbing the Total Biscuit Rejuvenation and that health potion, or that Explorer's Ward and some health potions. And he's going for dual Fairy Charms this game. He's gonna have a lot of mana regen in the laning phase. He's gonna be able to use those Lucent Singularities, the Light Bindings, as well as his W, which I'm not quite sure what it's called. Prismatic Barrier, being able to grant him a shield, which can negate a lot of poke damage that comes out from Sick early on Lissandra.
Yeah, it's actually something that I don't see a lot coming from AP mids going for supports, because I think it might have been wrong masteries or even wrong runes, because Lux is only starting with 2 AP, which is runes alone can get you almost up to 20.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm not sure if it was a mistake, but I mean, I would love to see how it plays out. But
yeah.
They obviously have a lot more ward coverage because of it, so.
Yeah, honestly though, I don't want to doubt Plushy Mikey right away. Because Lux is a champion he's very comfortable with. And if he's able to, play that well like he usually does, it could be really big here for Russ is looking for a ding. And we are seeing XMS right now. They're trying to invade. But no, Russ is going to make their way over there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they were spotted on an Explorer's Ward that was put down in the Banana Brush, but now they were being spotted on the end. Sick getting caught out there. He's going to get exploded.
Now,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, because this is this backing when you're invading enemy jungler is a really big solo queue mindset. When you play fives or when you're with a team, the one time you shouldn't back is when you invade in the jungle, because if they would have had all 5 there, they might have been able to turn that around with the Zyra Root and the Ashe Slow. And it's something you'll see, and it's one of those things that kind of like teams will soon learn on, but it's a really solo queue mindset that, hey, we're bottom, we got to go get this farm right away. And it will hurt sometimes, and they paid for it.
Yeah, and that first blood was being given to Hadu on Vayne. And he's not going to be able to spend that gold right away, but when he does get back, he's going to be able to have that extra 400 over Korea from that first blood. And that could be huge. And Aqua Prison landing in the bottom lane. The tumble. Hybrid's going to get dropped down to half here, but Frosty's also taking a lot of damage. That could have been really bad there. Oh, and Frosty taking another auto attack. He's got to be careful here. We are going to see Kraylol here coming in on Vi. The exhaust going down. The Aqua Prison not quite landing. They are going to opt to go for Hybrid here. He is going to flash away. And 2 flashes burned in that bottom lane. Exhaust was used there by Frosty and by Kraylol on Vi. But nothing was able to come out of that. We are seeing Correct My Mistake coming in here. The Demacia Standard Dragon Lance combo being used there. Kraylol getting dropped really low. And the volley not quite able to finish off there. I meant to say Dragon Strike, not Dragon Lance. My bad on that one.
It looked like the volley was going to hit, and that would have been a double up buff for Ashe. And that aggressive lane we're already seeing coming out of Ashe Zyra would have just been 10 times that with the red buff.
And
it looks like there's just a bunch of... Oh, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, we're seeing XMS Santa in that top lane. He's really getting bullied right now by winning on Jace. The poke that comes out from Jace early game is huge. And I see that winning. Oh, we're seeing Kraylo in the bottom lane right now. He does have the red buff slow. No flash on Korea right here. Frosty is going to flash. The Aqua Prison landing. The barrier is going to go down. The Silver Bolt going to be able to get that proc. But a double kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Sick getting caught out by a light binding. And nothing's going to come out of that one.
Now, with the red buff on support, that can actually be a lot better for the bot lane than a red buff on Ashe. And the reason for that is while Ashe is sitting in the back farming, you're going to have Hybrid on Zyra poking. And that extra 20 to 30 damage you get from red buff it's going to hurt. That's true damage coming out. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot more aggression.
Yeah, right now we are seeing Korea with about 12 more CS. Oh, the acceleration gate shock blast up in that top lane. Not quite able to finish off Santa. That could have been huge if Winning was able to pick up an early kill like that. He would have been able to get a decent lane advantage. Correct my mistake right now going in onto Winning. He's gonna have that red buff slow. Ooh, they're gonna trade a couple of blows here back and forth. I don't think too much is gonna come out of this one. Oh no, wait, he's gonna engage back onto this. Winning's taken really low. He's gonna try and fight him. It is a losing battle for him, but Mistake is gonna back out of that one. The minions weren't on his side that fight, and he didn't want to take the chance.
Yeah, it was really, with his red buff wearing off, it could have been very risky for him, but Winnie didn't have any mana left for the fight, so it was really, he could have risked it and it could have paid off a lot for him, but you don't want to give Jace, who's already winning the lane, even more of a lead.
Yeah, especially since Jace is a champion that does very well in the laning phase, as he's able to switch from a defensive range form into an aggressive melee form. He can pick his fights very well, because he can sit back, farm from a distance, and get his goal that way, or he can use the acceleration gate and the shock blast to get some good poke early on, and then switch into hammer form to get the execution and finish off the kill.
Now, I know for a fact that Dyrus runs a Jace versus Rumble a lot, and it usually works out for him and allows him to get that poke off versus a Rumble who usually dominates lane a lot.
Yeah, if he's able to land those acceleration gate shock blasts, they're huge. It does a lot of damage, especially early on. And meanwhile, in the bottom lane, though, we are going to see Kraylo going aggressive down here on the Hybrid. Exhaust going down, and another kill being picked up there by Hadu. Great gank by Kraylo. They were able to walk past that ward. There was a ward in the river brush. They weren't quite able to get out of that one. And I think right now, Hadu does have an advantage on Korea.
Yeah, absolutely, because even though the score is 3-2, that's 2 kills to their support, and that's 2 kills to Vayne. So the people you want to have the kills, it's in favor for Daff? Why did I forget their name? Looking for a date.
Yeah, Russ is looking for a date.
Russ is looking for a date. I couldn't figure out the first part. And so it's really going in the favor, and even though he's losing 10 CS to Korea, kills average around to 15 CS. So he's actually above in gold because of the 2 kills.
We haven't really been seeing too many wards. We are seeing the standard wards in bot lane, top lane, and mid. We aren't seeing too many wards that are going to look to catch out anyone in the jungle of the opposing team. So it looks like these two teams just want to play it relatively safe, protect themselves really from any sort of jungle gank. And we're seeing a bit of poke go down in this bottom lane. I think right now at this point, Hadu on Vayne is going to be able to outdamage Korea in a 1v1 if he's not going to be able to get poked down. Meanwhile, in top lane, though, we are seeing Winning going a bit aggressive here on the sand. He's going to get him dropped really low. Mikey's up top for that roll. He does have that great final spark there. I almost forgot the name there by Mikey. He was able to finish off that kill onto Santa. He is Mikey right now. He's not by any means dominating his lanes. He's even with Sick right now. It looks
Cray
like
just hit 6.
yeah, and he's gonna use that assault and battery and the last auto attack with the passive. I'm not quite sure what that's called either. The illumination flare coming out from Lux. He was able to pick up, able to finish off that kill. Another good point. Kraylol on Vi did just hit 6 there to get that assault and battery to be able to lock down, correct my mistake on Jarvan and be able to secure them a kill.
Yeah. It was when we saw Plushy first go in and kill the Rumble. Kraylol was still level 5, and it wasn't until he ran around the side of the bush where a minion died, and then he hit 6, and then that's when they decided, hey, we can dive this now, so let's go in. And they did a great job, and the Crystal Arrow coming in wasn't much to do much. It took too long to get down there and wasn't able to stop anything.
Yeah, we are seeing Sick and correct my mistake right now. Doing a little bit of roam. Correct my mistake's just gonna back off from that one. But Sick might try to get a gank off here. He does have that ultimate available. The Frozen Tomb on Lissandra. He can choose to use that on himself to be able to give him an effect similar to Zhonya's, or he can use it on an opponent to stun them for, I believe, 1.5 seconds. So
Yeah.
it can be used offensively or it can be used defensively also, which is a great thing about Lissandra, because she can be in the middle of a team fight, being either a beefy mage, or she can go full damage, and it's really what's really preference for Sick, or what XMS really want out of that Lissandra. But I'm really curious to see what he's gonna go into the late game.
Lissandra, a lot of people love to go the rush hourglass first on Lissandra, so you really have that almost 5 seconds plus of invulnerability where you can just go into a fight, ult yourself, do some damage, and then zone it yourself, and you're invulnerable.
Aqua Prison landed down to Hybrid right there. Kraylol is down. The Condemn gonna be able to lock him up a bit longer. Hybrid's gonna drop really low. Sold and battery being used on Korea there. And Hybrid's gonna be the first one to fall there. The final spark coming out from Mikey. He is gonna flash. He does have the red buff. And Kraylol gonna use that Vault Breaker to be able to pick up a kill. Aqua Prison landing down on the Sick here. He's getting dropped really low. There isn't a red buff on Mike. He's gonna be able to get the slow, but correct my mistake. Was able to pick up a kill there. And it looks like Russ is looking for a date. Is gonna turn on to him. And he's getting dropped really low. The Demacia standard Dragon Strike, but the Aqua Prison not gonna hit. And that auto attack from Mikey gonna be able to pick up another kill.
That red buff just finished the job. When you have that double red buff coming in from Vi and Lux, you just had constant damage going down on him, and it just slowly ticks away. And I have to say, Kraylol on Vi is doing a fantastic job. He has been in every single fight, I believe, this game, and he's been a part of a lot of these kills that come in the lane.
Yeah, right now we are seeing Plushy Mikey 3-0-2, 67 CS. Sick right now is farming just as well as him, but the roam from Mikey is able to get him those kills and give him a nice lead right now. We are seeing Winning trying to do something up in this top lane here. And he is going to go a bit aggressive onto Santa. Yeah, he's just gonna. Oh wait, he's gonna keep going on to this one. Actually, acceleration gate, shock blast being used. Correct my mistake is coming up from the jungle though, and Winning not gonna. No, he's not gonna go on to that one. Santa survived with a bit of health left, but the Demacia standard Dragon Strike being used here. Winning is just gonna turn on to Santa. The ignite's ticking away. Hex Drinker being popped. The shock blast is gonna miss. And Santa is going to survive with a sliver of health right here. And Winning is going to try to run away from this one. He is going to fall.
Oh, I thought he was going to... I was hoping he was going to make it. That would have been a lot more exciting. But that could have been really bad for Santa, deciding to turn back in to get a little extra damage. That ignite could have got him. Yeah, and it was very risky on his part.
He was able to fall to... correct my mistake on Jarvan. So... Yeah. Right now he's 2-2-0. He has a Spirit Stone and a 2 long swords. So he might be looking to build that into. Almost positive he's going to be building that into the Spirit of the Elder Lizard.
Elder Lizard.
Called? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Gonna grant him some nice attack damage, cooldown reduction, as well as a burn over time, dealing some true damage over 3 seconds. So, yeah, he's gonna be like. I like to see junglers running that Spirit of the Elder Lizard because it then that point provides them with some really strong gank potential, especially if your laners aren't the highest damaging laners. But in this case, not so much. Rumble does deal a lot of damage, as well as Santa, or it's not Santa, rather Sick on Lissandra. He's also able to lock up his opponent very well with that W, the Ring of Frost. It snares them for 1.2 seconds, and being able to follow that up with the Demacian Standard Dragon Strike could be huge.
Yeah, and coming from Russ Needs a Date, it's really their team comp. It's these kills are working out perfectly. Everyone who needs kills is getting kills for that self-peel to be able to do those 1v1 duels they're looking for in team fights. To just be able to melt their opponents, whoever's chasing them, and it's working out fantastic for them.
We are seeing... Oh, Kraylo gonna use that Assault Battery in the mid lane! Six gonna use that Frozen Tune on himself. He doesn't have Zhonya's quite yet, and that final spark gonna do a lot of damage, but Kraylo's gonna pick up that kill. We are seeing Hadu right now farming up in that bottom lane. He is relatively behind Korea right now in terms of farm. He does have those 2 kills right now though, so that's pretty much evening it up. And Korea right now, it looks like he's going to be building into a Blade of the Ruin King first. He does have that Bilgewater Cutlass. He could be just holding on to that for the sustain and the attack damage in lane, or he could be simply building that into a Blade of the Ruin King first for him. We normally see Ashes go for the Infinity Edge, but it really all comes down to what he really likes to build on Ashe and what works for him. And we are going to see the Enchanted Crystal Arrow going down onto Mikey here. Kraylo going to use that Vault Breaker. He doesn't have Assault and Battery available, but the Light Binding landing onto Hybrid there. The Stranglethorn is going down, and Lissandra isn't going to want to go in on that one.
Now, the reason I'm not the biggest fan of Ashe with going for Blade of the Ruin King is more to the fact of you only go Blade of the Ruin King when you're snowballing, and that's even true on Vayne. If you're not even or ahead with kills or CS, even that, you go Bloodthirster because you're going to be able to farm.
I'm not sure if you just saw that, but Plushie Mikey just used his final spark to steal away that blue buff. That was really well played by him. I'm pretty sure they did have vision. Yeah, that ward right there.
They did have vision.
Yeah, the ward did spot it, and he was able to use that final spark to pick up a blue buff. So that's a blue buff denied from Sick.
That's going to allow Vi to get a blue buff, or even Jace to get that blue buff, which really helps Jace out because he's not going for that tier that we usually see.
And Mikey's just kind of dancing around on Hybrid right here. The Light Binding, Lucid Singularity, and the Ignite, the final spark as well. Gonna be able to pick up that kill.
And he gets it. Did he use Ignite? Or
yeah, he did.
He did, okay. I thought Let's was gonna get away, no problem, but good on him. He just picks up, it's free gold at that point when he can just pick someone up like that.
What we should really take note of is Mikey did opt to go for that Magi
Soul Stealer. That's a very, I like to say it's a very cocky item. It tells you like, hey, I'm confident that I can kill all of you, so I'm gonna get this Magi Soul Stealer, and I feel like snowballing a bit more. So it's one of my favorite items in the game because it not only helps, but they're
Mikey getting engaged out in the mid lane. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow not quite hitting, but everything was used there onto Mikey. They were able to secure that kill. The Frozen Tomb was used on him, as well as the Equalizer and the Cataclysm. And Korea wasn't quite able to land that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but they were able to secure that kill. And I believe they did get a shutdown bonus. I don't quite remember who got the kill on Mikey right there, but it was still a hefty amount of gold.
Yeah, it was really... They just took advantage of, hey, we can kill her right now, let's do it. And I'm actually still not sure. I was trying to look it up who got the shutdown gold, so...
right now, Sick on Lissandra is 0-2-1. He does have a Haunting Guide and the Sork Shoes, but he is doing some decent utility for his team. He isn't dishing out the greatest of damage right now, but he is able to use the W and the Frozen Tomb. The Ring of Frost is his W, snares an opponent. Right now it's 1.3 seconds. And Quavo's going a bit aggressive here. The Volt Breaker, the Assault and Battery being used on Santa. Final Spark landing across a couple members of XMS Gaming. Santa is not quite going to drop to the Lucent Singularity. Light Binding not quite hitting there. Winning, he's going to try to use that Acceleration Gate Shock Blast, but no, he's not going to be able to see an opportunity there. And no kills coming out there, and LoL did end up balling.
Yeah, and Santa was actually the one who got the first kill on Mikey. He got that shutdown gold. And I believe he just picked up another kill that fight. So this is really getting Rumble kills is probably the best thing for XMS Gaming.
Yeah, and we are going to see correct by mistake going in onto Mikey here. Lissandra's going to know he's not going to go into that one. He sees it's too risky there. There was Cataclysm available. The final Spark Lucent Singularity combo. Alright, the Shock Blast from Jace. Able to pick up that kill onto Korea. Great plays. The poke comp coming down right now from not necessarily poke comp, but the poke potential coming down from Russ looking for a date. Light Binding landing. Oh my god.
That's 5 stacks to Mikey, and they're not looking to stop here.
Santa's gonna be the next one to fall there. The Equalizer was used, wasn't quite enough. Wow, this game is... I'm really liking how Russ is looking for a date, is able to use this comp to its full advantage. We haven't been seeing XMS Gaming use their comp to its full potential, but I definitely think if they're able to use more communication, say, hey look guys, let's group up, let's try to pick our fights, get some wards out, get in oracles, know where the enemy team is, then we're able to get those good engages with the Demacian Standard Dragon Strike into the Cataclysm, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Strangle Thorns, the Equalizer, as well as that Frozen Tomb. So
yeah, and Mikey's has about... And the thing is it's just a lot of damage coming out from Russ. Like, yeah, they have this huge comp that there's still a chance we're going to see that Jarvan, Lissandra, the Crystal Tomb like you were talking about, and the Cataclysm. There's still a chance we might see them win a team fight because they absolutely still can with that Wombo combo. But right now, Mikey has 7 stacks. He has 76 bonus AP with that just Magi's alone. And if he keeps getting more, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to be getting hit by so much damage that they'll kill you before XMS can even initiate on a fight.
yeah, we are seeing Santa right now on Rumble. He does have a Leandri's Torment finished, which grants him some decent tankiness. I think it's about 300 health, 50 AP, and also a burn, which is really good, especially on the Equalizer of Rumble and the sustained damage that comes out of Rumble. His Q, which I'm not quite sure what it's called, and the Equalizer also in the middle of a fight being used alongside that Leandri's will dish out a lot of damage, but it also comes down to the fact that a good Equalizer has to be landed. It has to be landed across 4 or 5 members of Russ is looking for a date, and they have to get the lockup. But when I say that, you gotta take into account the fact that XMS Gaming has a really good team for locking up opponents. So if they're able to use their team comp, like we've said multiple times, to its full advantage, being able to lock up people, use that Equalizer, and Korea in that back line, able to dish out as much damage as he can, that could be the turning point for XMS Gaming.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you see, if you look on the mid lane counterparts, Lissandra only has a Haunting Guise and Boots. She's around full 2 items under Lux or Mikey, because the only Magi's is about the same price as Haunting Guise.
And it looks like Russ looking for a date is going to look to push down this tier 2 bottom lane turret. Enchanted Crystal Arrow not quite landing. The final spark dealing tons of damage right there. Korea and Stick are going to have to recall away from that one. Light Binding landing onto 2 members of XMS. just gonna back out of that one. They're gonna look to keep pushing though. They want to keep up the pressure right now while they do have this massive power spike with Mikey and Hadu on Vayne. Kraylo going aggressive here, getting that assault and battery. Correct my mistake, using that cataclysm to lock up 3 members there. The strangle thorns being used. Sick gonna get into that fight, gonna use that frozen tomb on himself there, but Winning and Mikey are gonna look to re-engage. Correct my mistake, getting a 3-man knockup there, gonna be able to pick up the kill onto Winning. Korea, Hybrid, and Mistake are gonna look to follow up on this one, and Mistake is not gonna quite able. The final spark combo being used, gonna be able to pick up Korea there. Mistake is gonna be the next one to fall. Kraylo just gonna back into that one, and the flash coming in from Mikey, the light binding, able to finish off Hybrid on Dire right there. Great play by Russ is looking for a date, and they're gonna look to push onto this one.
And actually, and the problem was Rumble didn't even use his ult that fight, and that probably would have turned it. So that was a big, that was just a big factor in that fight when you don't have that Rumble ultimate equalizer coming down.
Yeah, as we start bashing on Rumble though, he is able to do a lot of damage there onto Mikey. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow not quite hitting. The final spark going to be turned around and used by Mikey. Mikey, oh, he's able to secure that kill for himself. And Sick is going to look to chase onto this one. But Mikey is being a bit aggressive here. He is really low on health. Hadu is able to steal away that red buff from Mistake. And he's going to look to kite around. Final hour being popped. Cataclysm being used there. And Hadu's going to be able to finish off that kill.
Mikey has 15 stacks now. I believe he's going to go back and get that Rabadon. He's going to have well over 500 AP because of it, I believe.
Korea right now just trying to get as much farm as he can. He is ahead of his lane counterpart, but at this point it doesn't make too much of a difference because Hadu is sitting on 5 kills. As Vayne, he has that Blade of the Rune King finish. He's going to look to build to that Phantom Dancer second with the Zeal and the Cloak of Agility. So right now, Hadu is really strong. 25 minutes, and he's not necessarily the biggest focus on Russ is looking for a date either. You got to take a look at Kraylo, who's actually doing some decent damage, as well as winning on Jace, who's getting those great acceleration gauge shock blast, and he's doing a lot of damage also, as well as Mikey. He, right now, 10, 1, and 8. Able to land that light binding, Lucid Singularity, also the Assault and Battery used, and the Final Spark being able to secure that kill. Enchanted Crystal Arrow being used on the Kraylo there. Light binding gonna try and lock up a couple of them, not quite. Oh, and that Prismatic Barrier gonna keep Kraylo alive just a bit longer, but it looks like XMS is gonna look to pursue onto this one. Mikey getting dropped pretty low, a flash coming out.
Great play by Jace coming out. Great play, saving Mikey.
And Stranglethorn is being used right here. Winning. No, he doesn't have the Muramana just yet, so he's not getting as much single target DPS. But it's not really a big deal right now because his Shock Blast and Acceleration Gate combo is actually just melting the health bars of XMS Gaming.
Yeah, it's really. I have to say, because I usually like to wait out to the end, but I mean, clearly with a 16k gold lead, it's very hard for Russ to lose this game. It would take a very solid team fight from XMS, but I'm looking at the builds of XMS and they just don't have the damage. Like Rumble was losing lane and he decided to go haunting guys when he should have gone a more sustainable item like Rallies or even a lot more AP. Because Leandry's isn't really a solid AP item, and now they're just building Abyssal Scepter as well.
Equalizer being used around the blue buff, and they're going to try to get on to winning here. Korea is able to land. The condemned landing. Kraylo is in the back of the Assault and Battery used. They're able to secure that kill. They are going to go on to Santa here, and one more proc from the Silver Bolt is going to be able to finish him off there. Another kill being picked up. I think
that's stack 20 as well for Mikey. That was him landing the Luxalt with stack number 20, so he's really going to be unstoppable soon with almost 600 AP at 28 minutes, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, right now Russ is looking for a date, is going to want to push their advantage right now. And I don't want to say that XMS is completely out of this, but Russ is looking for a date is in the driver's seat of this match right now. They have complete control of this game. It's their game to throw. However, XMS, like we've talked about all game, if they're able to use their team comp, then I truly think they might have a chance back at this game.
Yeah, XMS can go for what I like to call a hope fight, and it's when they win a team fight and it makes them realize, hey, we actually have a chance at winning this, and they just start playing better because of it. They get out of that loser mindset like, Lux is fed, we can't win this, it's impossible to like, hey, let's try to win. And it's really something you'll see in a lot of teams.
And the Frozen Tomb being used on the Kraylol there, gonna secure a kill for Sick. And Russ is looking for a date. I think this is where we say they overstayed their welcome.
Absolutely.
Just...
They could have got Bear. There's a lot of things they could have done, but and Mikey is out of mana, so I mean, it looks like they're gonna go back and probably go to Bear.
Yeah, Russ is looking for a date right now. It's looking really strong. I mean, Mikey all game has been playing really well on that Lux. Using the roam potential, he was able to secure some early kills in the bot and top lane. That also helped his teammates also when they were struggling a bit when Korea did have a decent CS lead on Hadu early on in the game. That roam from Mikey was able to give them a little boost to help them catch up in CS and also bring the lane more at an even standpoint.
Yeah, you have a lot of... I'm looking at Kraylol's build, and it's very unique. It's not something you would see a lot, but it's working out for him, and it's a lot of unique builds coming out, because even the Jace build going for the Maw Malmortis first was very unusual, but it's working out for them. And Mikey with 700 AP at 30 minutes is just going to be a deciding factor.
Wow. Mikey...
And it looks like they are going for that Baron as well.
Yeah, Mikey was able to pick up a kill there onto Hybrid, and that Baron being secured for Russ is looking for a date. And at this point, they could push on to end this game and secure the victory for themselves. Mikey is going to pop that Ignite on to correct. The Losing Singularity popping, and he's going to secure another kill for himself there. He's 13-1 right now. He has 4 completed items at 30 minutes. He is beyond fed right now.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job, and even missing the Q, the light bind, and I believe it's called the prison, light binding and
prismatic barrier.
Lucent singularity. His ultimate almost still one-shot Korea. So I feel like they're gonna try to close out the game right here.
It's a pretty strong Lux.
Yeah.
And Kraylol picking up a kill on the Santa there, and it looks like Russ is looking for a date, is gonna finish off this game here. GG, well played. Russ is looking for a date, was able to pick up the victory over XMS Gaming, and this is definitely the confidence booster they need going into the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a phenomenal game by everyone on that team, because I know we were giving a lot of